We were going to begin tonight with a speaker from Kununurra, but due to wild weather and ceremony duties, she hasn't been able to appear live tonight. But we do have an amazing recording from Kununurra Trial Zone 2 from Beverly Waverly, and Hayden is going to play that for us tonight. Thanks everyone for being here, and thank you to our wonderful speakers who you'll be introduced to as we go throughout the night. Hayden, would you like to introduce Beverly's speech? Thank you.
Okay,
we will make this available in MP4 format after tonight.
Yeah, and I'll let Beverly introduce herself. I think she does a great job of explaining her qualifications on this matter.
I'm currently living and residing in Kununurra, Kimberley, the trial region for the Cashless Debit card, and I'm retired from education, although being quite busy as the chairperson for our All Valley Aboriginal Health Services based in Kununurra.
Awesome. And then I'll just let you speak to your experience of what it was like when the Cashless Welfare Card trial came to Kununurra and
Sure.
what you noticed.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Would like to advise everybody that since the rollout of the CDC card in the East Kimberley Trial Region, Kununurra, we are to understand it initiated or start in May 2016. Now, when it first came apart to everyone in the community, the majority were advised about it with no consultation, and everyone was quite up in the air as to what is this Cashless Debit card? Why are we on this debit card? Why weren't we, informed about this? Why didn't the leaders come forward? So basically what I'm saying, there was a lot of uproar about this. There was no acknowledgement to clients or recipients in regards to being put on this card. So what happened initially, we had a brief meeting about this. When it first came out and announced that East Kimberley, Kununurra would be the trial region, we had a little debriefing meeting in, I think it was April, May of that year. So it was just in brief, asking everybody's point of views, if they knew about it, how they felt about it, and, do you think this is the right thing that they're doing?
And what sort of response did you get?
Everyone was angry. They were fuming. They were so frustrated.
Yeah.
And asked the questions. Why? One of the main questions was, why weren't we consulted about it?
Yeah.
Don't go ahead without asking us. Why are you doing this? So after that little brief meeting, we decided to have a big meeting. We invited all managers from agencies. We also invited the Labor. Well, the Kimberley at that point in time was Josie Farrow, which came along, and of course she's observed, and we invited our 4 leaders that initiated and announced and went ahead with the signing of the card to be the go-ahead in Kununurra.
Yep.
So we had a huge turnout on that, about 80 people on the proxy. We knew satellite card would arrive, and they blatantly told us they did not receive the invite. We had a few managers from other businesses there that came along, and we had a massive outcome, a lot of angry people. Questions were thrown at the leaders as to why, they weren't consulted. Some were throwing back, why don't you go on the Cashless Debit card? One old lady, it was devastating. She just broke down emotionally and said, you guys, you mob should be coming to us.
Yeah.
It's not right. We should be allowed to spend our own money. And to be honest, since then, when it all happened, nobody knew of how or when are they going to get their money.
Yeah.
So what happened was it started rolling in. And the most devastating part about it, it credited into their accounts, but they had to wait for their cards, so they could not access their money.
Wow.
Yes. And there was a lady, for an example, who was on the basic card who didn't have no idea, coming from the NT. And I really felt for her because when she went to check her balance, basically everything was already transferred to the Cashless Debit card.
Oh. Wow.
So she was so devastated. She ended up going to see Centrelink about it. It was traumatic because she had little children.
Yeah.
And the other thing that they found during this journey now was that, you know, the transaction fees
Yeah. I've heard
were being
that, yeah.
charged when they go to the shopping centres.
Yeah.
And the majority of them didn't know anything about credit and savings.
No.
You know, there was no, they did say wraparound service, there was no wraparound service. Later on down the track, 6 months later, they talked about a panel. Nobody knew about a panel, who to go to.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, the process was just huge for a lot of people who did not understand technology,
Yeah.
who did not understand a mobile phone, who didn't have no idea about getting credit, you know.
Let alone
So
this
that's
made-up system that no one understood anyway.
No, exactly. And look, I myself was on it, you know, and I thought, oh wow. Actually, to me, I found that as an insult. You know, I worked all my life. I'm retiring at the moment, and I tell you what, it really does something to you. It makes you, it just changed your mind, and you're thinking, you thought, wow, you know, this is really happening. This is happening to you.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you had quite a reputable career as an educator, which is something our communities need.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought, no, is this really happening? Well, it is happening. I'm no different than anybody else. But yeah, you're going on the card kind of thing. And I accepted that. But until such time, I told the lady, I said, no. This, you know, I already have a chronic disease. I'm asthmatic. I have heart issues. But everything's fine at the moment. But the point of time, it just shuts you down.
Yeah. And probably exacerbated those conditions as well.
Yeah. And I thought, no. So, you know, and a lot of them didn't understand. Like, I believe those that do like it is basically because they're not the smokers or the drinkers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, good on them if they don't have any issues with it and they're saving and they're buying cars and but think about the vulnerable people.
Yeah.
You know, the less fortunate.
The majority of the people.
Yeah, let them spend the money how they want to spend them. You cannot change the way they live.
Yeah.
And it basically what I've seen from there up until now, mate, it's just deteriorated the quality of life. And so now it's sort of like, you know, it's the cashless debit card. Yeah, when is it going to stop?
Yeah, I
They
mean,
basically just give up.
it's supposed to be a trial, and this trial just keeps getting extended. That's what's insulting as well.
That's exactly right. You know,
Yeah.
and I mean, look, with alcohol, drugs, domestic violence, kids not going to school, homelessness, kids being, mate, you know, that's been going on for years.
Yeah.
Putting this card on them, it did not change anything. Things got worse.
Yeah, and you mentioned before about the wraparound services. I mean, they're just non-existent when it comes to alcohol treatment or drug treatment or things like that.
There was no wraparound service that initiated by Tojo at that point in time.
Yeah.
And having said that, they should have known. The individual is the one that wants to go seek help.
Yeah.
You know? And the majority, you know, you mentioned the word budget. They would look at you as to what the hell is budget?
Yeah.
What do you want a budget? You know? They very rarely know, or they don't know at all. So it's basically, it's the basics.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
and it prevents you from the basics as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, a few times I've helped a few people in the Coles shopping centre here.
Yep.
And explaining to them, you know, I'm saying, Uncle, what you have to do, you know, when you're supposed to have people in these areas to help them out.
That's right. Did you ever experience any times where your card didn't work?
Hang on, mate, the rain's too heavy. What's that?
Yep. Did you ever experience any times where your card just didn't work?
Well, some business didn't accept it when it was full on, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There was nothing in place to say, well, oh, you can go this place, you can go that way.
And if it's anything like the other trial areas, most people didn't understand anyway. So it just meant a lot of places were off limits.
Yeah, it was really hard.
Yeah. Do you find? Yeah, go on.
Let's go about this rain so heavy.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. What was that?
I was going to say I've been to Ceduna quite a few times, which is another trial area, as you know, and the biggest event in Ceduna each year is the Oyster Fest. and they don't take cashless welfare. So it's almost like the town's not invited and they're swept under the rug. And I also know things like the Moscow Circus, when it was travelling from Adelaide to Perth, it would stop in places like Port Augusta, Port Pirie, but they don't even set up in Ceduna anymore because they don't take cashless welfare. So it means all of these cultural community events that make you feel like you're part of the community.
Yeah, well, that happened here too.
Yeah.
When we have every year we celebrate our agricultural show.
Okay, yeah.
You know, every year, at that time, they couldn't use their card. They couldn't use it for entry to go in to take their families.
Yeah.
And their limit at that time was, because it's only $200 every month. You know,
it's ridiculous. And I remember around Ceduna, that morale breakdown, it hangs around for months in the lead up to it and the lead up after it as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, wow, that weather sounds terrible there.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of a sudden, we don't know where it comes from. We're thinking Darwin.
Yeah, thanks, Darwin. Yep.
Yeah, but it's nice change. It's been 40 degrees here, mate.
Wow, beautiful. And look, just while everyone's listening as well, Bev, I want to thank you for, you know, putting up a good fight for years and years and years, long before I even came along. You've been putting the good fight up there in Kununurra, and we really need people like you. I just want to say thanks on behalf of everyone.
Thank you.
No problem.
Beverly, thanks very much.
And see, as it is now.
Oh, sorry?
And I mean, meeting with ministers and what have you, virtually and technically speaking, that was a waste of time.
Yeah. And
that was technically, I said, this is a waste of time.
And Senate inquiries, it's almost like all of the submissions that we keep doing, they just end up getting filed and never looked at again.
Yeah, that's what I said. You know, why are we doing this? It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Why haven't they? And this is another thing. Understanding with people is that, you know, there is a process. It goes to this one, it goes to that one.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, there's frustration, there's arguments, there's upsets, there's,
And,
you know,
and it really affects the home and family life as well, because the tension is just palpable.
That's right. And, you know, there's more illnesses to it. That's what I said to the lady. I said, well, look, honey, you know, you've got to consider anxiety.
Yeah.
Tell us about the mental health effects of it. People were having effects for paying rent.
Yeah.
All those things in the first year or so. And then all of a sudden, well, Bazingo, they worked to a part there where you can use the basic card, you can use the cashless debit card there and all these other places, you know. And I thought, nah, man, you took 2 years to do this.
Yeah, the trauma.
We still don't know who the panels are.
No, and it's highly secretive.
No.
And not many people come off it anyway. Like it's a real shit fight for
No, well, there is a big long waiting list to come off it. There are a lot of people said they apply for it, and I said, far out. We're in our 10th month now.
Yeah, I've managed to get the statistics, and I have a particular interest in Ceduna, obviously. And out of the 83 applications, only 8 have been granted.
Oh, wow.
So everyone is just sitting there waiting. And can I just say, none of those 8 people are Indigenous.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's absolutely.